Right, everybody, welcome to episode number 47 of Talking Taker, our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. My name is Alex Dorio. I'm one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, Mr. Sniffles over there, Mr. Travis White.
I can't kick out these Sniffles, man. East Tennessee's got me down.
Well, I got something that's going to lift you up, man. I've got some good news for you, Travis.
Oh, I'm ready.
Travis, you are not the father.
Oh, well, thank God.
Good news for you.
Good news. I am a father.
You are a father.
Of three, yeah, but not the father of this one, huh? So.
Not the father of this one. We're going to get into some DNA issues, a scenario that really could have used the help of Maury Povich here on this Talking Taker. That's going to be a huge part of this episode, but more importantly, we are going to get into the Undertaker's matchup at King of the Ring 1998, The Undertaker versus Mankind in a sort of famous matchup. You might have heard about it. Yeah, it just celebrated its 20th anniversary. Maybe the most famous matchup of the Attitude Era. Maybe the most famous in WWF history. Certainly in the top 10, top 5, without a doubt. The Undertaker versus Mankind in the Hell in a Cell. Wow, it is an insane match, and it's been talked about really to death. It's been analyzed to death. It's been on so many DVDs and video packages, and Mick Foley's and it's done a whole tour across the country giving his story about it, talking about his books. And we weren't there. We weren't backstage. We don't have a lot of that sort of analysis to offer. So to discuss a match, a lot of the matches we've discussed are not super overanalyzed, but this one probably is. So to do something a little bit different, a little bit later on in the show, we're going to give a watch-along live commentary for this episode, sort of like we did for the Royal Rumble 1997 match. We're going to do that. We'll give you the timestamp. We'll tell you when to cue it up on your WWE network, and you can watch it along with us as we give our live analysis of what it's like to be a fan watching that match, just like we all are. So we'll do that a little bit later on. We will go into our breakdown and try to hit the highlights of the build-up to this match and everything going on with The Undertaker since we last left off with Unforgiven 1998. If you don't watch it along with us, you can still enjoy it, just like you could with that last episode, I think. But it'll be really fun if you queue it up along with us. But hang tight. We'll give you that timestamp. We'll tell you when to come in. First of all, we're just going to dive head first into everything going on with The Undertaker here. And we last left off with the Inferno match. Unforgiven 1998, The Undertaker defeated Kane and got his second victory over him. And he's going to roll in to building up to where he's going next by a huge matchup against none other than Barry Windham. Right?
The stalker. No, at this point he's NWA Barry Windham, isn't he?
Oh, man. Yeah, he's going to send him right out of the World Wrestling Federation right here, pretty much.
I think he does, yeah. Pretty much. This is Raw 257, night after the Inferno match. Yeah, and you think they'd follow up with this, big, huge angle and this huge win with something a little more spectacular. But, yeah, he's pretty much comes out, and the Undertaker squashes Barry Windham in under a minute. I think it was 44 seconds. So it was a little bit less than the John Cena match at WrestleMania 2018.
And another time and place, that would have been a dream matchup, too. It's a shame.
I was thinking that, Barry Windham's talked about so highly as regards to his in-ring style and just how smooth he is in the ring. And some of us remember him as a West Texas redneck guy, but he was really a fantastic wrestler. He really is. And so, in another time, another day, another moment, this would have been a dream match. But here it's just a freaking squash, choke slam, tombstone, 1, 2, 3, it's over. But the business really picks up after that.
Well, yeah, just real quick before we jump into that, I just want to say something I've been meaning to say on the past couple episodes. This is actually The Undertaker's first match on television since 1997. This match right here that takes place on the Raw after Unforgiven 1998. That's the first time Undertaker's wrestled on Raw in 1998, which is
This
crazy to think about. All he's been doing is cutting promos and interacting with Kane and Paul Bearer. And I just wanted to raise that point, real quick. We don't have to dig super deep into it, but
no, but yeah,
it just goes to show how effective that can be by having, a lot of these guys. Stone Cold doesn't wrestle on TV every week. Kane doesn't wrestle on TV every week. And I realize that, they have 3 hours to fill nowadays and, a lot more going on. But, man, it really makes Undertaker feel special when, he hasn't wrestled on TV in 4 months. You got to put your money down to see a guy like him wrestle. And he's going to wrestle a couple more times in this build-up. But, man, just kind of crazy to think about.
it really is, man. And I know you said that they had 3 hours of Raw, and Nitro's 3 hours, and the main event guys weren't wrestling every night either, though. So
Sure.
like it's weird. Like yeah, nowadays everything's just overexposed, and you get these wonderful matches that go on for 25 minutes, but they don't mean anything. But yeah, it's amazing. I didn't even realize that till you pointed that out, man. He didn't wrestle for 4 months on Raw. And they're beating the WCW at this point. Like in ratings, like how crazy. And his first match is 44 seconds, and he beats Barry Windham. What a great way to make a paycheck, honestly.
Well,
he's earned it.
He has, and they're beating WCW because of storytelling. And the Undertaker Kane story, like you just said, is going to take a huge turn right here. What happens after this match?
Oh, okay. So yeah, after this match, we got Undertaker calling out Kane on the mic, and he's like, "Last night you looked into the eyes of the dragon, and you got burned." And first of all, now he's the dragon.
Another new nickname.
Yeah, another new. We got so many nicknames.
So many.
One day we'll have to tally these all up. So, but he tells Kane that last night was only the beginning, and he asks him, or not asking, he tells him to come out and let's finish it. He said, "I'm not moving." I'm not moving until you come out here, Kane. So basically, demanding his brother comes out. Let's finish this. And he said, "I have an eternity to wait for you." And so at this point, I think we go to commercial break, and after that we come back, and this is. We thought Paul Bearer turning on Undertaker was a bombshell. Talked about how it's kind of like, Empire Strikes Back moment and everything. Speaking of Empire Strikes Back, Luke, I'm your father. Here we go. We're going to have this kind of bombshell. This could be the Empire Strikes Back moment right here. I didn't even think about that. But we come back, and Paul Bearer delivers some information here that's going to take some Maury Povich to get to the bottom of.
He just blurts out, "Don't you understand, Undertaker? Last night it was my son whose hand was on fire," implying that Kane is his son. And then we cut to commercial again. It just goes away, and we end on that bombshell, and he just blurts it out, and it's this whole thing. And I thought the revelation happened. What we're going to talk about, what happened next week on Raw, and a very famous scene. I didn't realize that he admitted that Kane was his son right here, right then, which just, like you said, I mean, it blows this whole story up. It takes it to a different world.
Yeah, a whole new world, if you will. And like I said, yeah, of course you will. This is last week. You talked about the soap opera. I mean, this soap opera is now gone to new heights, and it gives more reason for the Kane Undertaker story to continue. Because technically he's beaten him twice. Well, technically 3 times, as we mentioned last week, talking about Manchester and Mayhem. Mayhem and Manchester. It's late, guys. But anyway, this soap opera is now at new heights here. What a crazy thing. But yeah, it's going to prolong this feud. But also take some twists and turns here as we go.
Oh,
lots of crazy goings on here.
It takes a twist and turn the next week in a very famous segment. We are on Raw. What is this? May
258.
Oh yeah.
May 4th. Yeah.
May the 4th be with you. Star Wars. There you go.
See, look at that.
It all comes together, man.
Perfect.
Jerry Lawler is backstage, supposed to interview Paul Bearer, and I remember this so vividly, man. Watching this live back in 1998, he's supposed to interview Paul Bearer, and they throw a commercial. Paul Bearer and Jerry Lawler do. All of a sudden, the camera gets set down, sort of on its side, and the way that they shoot it makes it look like the cameraman accidentally left the camera rolling. And we see Paul Bearer and Jerry Lawler continuing to talk to each other and make small talk with each other. I literally thought this was a shoot watching this live, man. For a
Isn't that
little
awesome?
bit. Yeah. Once they start really getting into it, I realized this is part of the angle. This is part of the
Right.
storyline. But at first, I was just, oh my God. These guys are out of character. Something's going on here. It's just so expertly well done. And Jerry Lawler and Paul Bearer play it off incredibly as they go into some very, very locker room talk. Very much. Very, not profane, but a little bit here.
A little bit.
As Jerry tries to egg on Paul Bearer to tell him a little bit more about what happened that night at the funeral home where he slept with the Undertaker's mother.
Tell me about what are you going to tell everybody about Kane? What's the deal?
I told everybody. You heard what I told him. I told the whole world he's my son. He is my son, Jerry. It's that simple.
Come on. So you're telling me
he's my son?
You're telling me
you don't believe me?
No, you're telling me you nailed the Undertaker's mother.
Well, I nailed.
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay.
Tell me. Well,
how can I trust you?
I'll tell nobody.
Yeah, he did. I think it's funny that Paul Bearer decides to confide in Jerry Lawler. He says, "Oh, don't worry, I won't tell anyone."
Of course.
It's like, but yeah, Paul Bearer proceeds to tell how he was 19, when he was coming back from the wrestling matches. I like that he said that he and his friends would go to the wrestling matches and come.
That's what he said.
Every Tuesday, yep, and he'd come back and basically claims that she seduced him from, the get-go.
Took his virginity, and Jerry Lawler says, "What, on the embalming table?" And Paul Bearer laughs and says, "No, it's on the kitchen floor." And Jerry Lawler gets off one of the lines of the podcast that we've had, asking Paul Bearer if he slipped the salami to Paul Bearer's mother.
Yikes.
Paul said, he wasn't fat back then. He was a studly kind of looking guy.
I like that.
And King says, "Did you really bury your baloney in the Undertaker's mother?" He just has the puns at the ready, dude.
Oh, he's ready. Yeah, absolutely. He is. And, man, yeah, Paul goes on to talk about some noises they were making and stuff like that. And then he hears little feet above his head, which, if you're me, you think they're bats because that's what you got in your attic still. But anyway, he hears not bats. He hears some feet coming down the steps, and he says it's a good thing that I stopped because it was Undertaker. So
he would have seen his mother with one leg in New York and the other in L.A.
Oh my word! And at that moment, as it should, the camera all of a sudden cuts off.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad.
Is it too bad?
I could watch this segment forever.
It's but man, I cannot put over the execution of this segment. It is absolutely unique at this time.
It is.
Later on we see stuff like GTV and WCW. Remember Buff Bagwell and Kidman used to carry the camcorders around backstage, and you see stuff, but this is just so. It explains why the camera is there and why the camera is on. Because we come back from commercial and Jerry Lawler is very, very, what's the word?
Apologetic,
somber. Yeah, very. Yeah, he's very somber, and he's, ladies and gentlemen, I need to apologize for what you just saw. And, what just aired wasn't supposed to air, and I apologize if it offended anyone, which I'm sure it did. So, it offends my ears. But, it's, man, that execution is absolutely amazing. I love that. It was so good. That's Russo all over. Again, for all the bad stuff.
Yep.
For the stuff like, meat and beaver cleavage you got, man, you got this, and this is Russo at its finest. So good.
So, obviously, hearing all this, hearing this talked about in such vivid detail has upset The Undertaker, has, just pissed him off very much. So, the next week on Raw, he tries to get revenge on the King. He attacks the King, comes out of nowhere from out of the crowd, while the King and JR are talking about Mark Romero and Sable, and he beats the crap out of Jerry the King Lawler. As Jerry backpedals and says this wasn't his fault, all this sort of stuff. Gets into some more business with Paul Bearer and Kane, and Paul Bearer says that he's going to prove after all of this that he's going to be Kane's father, which leads us to another ridiculous segment next week where Paul Bearer and Kane go get a DNA test.
Yeah, so we're on Raw 260 here. This is May 18th, and so the show opens up of this footage outside of I guess a medical lab. Medical facility, a lab in Nashville. I'm sure I drove past this when I lived there for 5 years, so I did not see a giant man with a windbreaker and a black ski mask on them. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when you see the monster Kane, you think when he's out of this wrestling ring, he's wearing a black ski mask and a purple windbreaker. Oh my!
That's his casual outfit.
Casual Monday. He looks awful. They couldn't think of anything better to do than that. So, but yeah.
Why wouldn't he just wear the Kane mask?
I know.
Why does he wear a ski mask over his head?
He must have, and because later on, when we talk about something else that happens at Paul Bearer's house when he's looking a little casual, I want to talk about Kane's mask there too. Okay. But this is they use the term medical facility, and that's the debut of that word here on Talking Taker. I don't know if it's debuted on actual Raw or anything, but I remember when we were talking about the Bret Hart matches and stuff, they said hospital over and over again. So that's the debut of that word here, medical facility, and you will hear it 20 years later nowadays. They never say hospital. So, but so Paul Bearer and Kane are both getting their blood drawn, and Paul Bearer says, "I'm going to show people I'm Kane's daddy." He's so excited about it.
He's a proud papa.
So happy. He is. Can't blame him, So.
Yeah, we've got a doctor in the ring, Dr. Charles Woolsey, allegedly, that says...
I'll put a picture of him on social media, don't you worry. I got a snapshot of him already.
Well, he lets us know that...
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, without any uncertainty, after exhausting all of our analytical methods in determining fatherhood, Paul Bearer is the biological father of Kane. What'd I tell you?
Of Kane. So... Kane and Bear immediately come out just ecstatic about all of this. Paul Bear says... go ahead.
They should have come out and... I mean, I know they're happy with the news, but this guy should have his medical license revoked. He violated HIPAA laws on national television. Just, patient doctor confidentiality. He just spewed this on TV. So, I mean, come on.
Doctors in wrestling don't have the greatest reputation.
That's true. And, exactly.
Ask CM Punk about that.
But here comes Kane and Paul Bearer, and like you said, proud papa. So
he says, Paul Bearer says, "I'm not the little boy who cried wolf. I'm the fat man that tells the truth."
Was that supposed to rhyme? I
think so.
I love
the way
it.
he said it sounded like it rhymed.
Because I think he said, "I'm not the boy who howled wolf." So, the boy who howled wolf. I'm like, what? I had to rewind it and see what he said.
Well, Paul Bearer goes on to call Undertaker's mother a two-bit.
Woo.
And that brings Undertaker out, of course. Him and Kane get in a pull-apart brawl again, which actually leads Vader out because all this time you would think we'd be building up to another Undertaker and Kane match for the third time. Nope. Kane's going to be facing Vader, who interfered in the Inferno match. They're going to be facing each other at Over the Edge, which is the May pay-per-view, in, of all things, a mask versus mask match where the loser must unmask. Which, I don't know, Travis. I've watched a lot of Vader matches, and I think in about 75% of them, I've seen his mask come off in those matches. I don't really know. I've never understood what this stipulation in this match was, why it was supposed to be such a big deal. Why? Oh my God, we're gonna see Vader unmask. You could already see half his face through the mask anyway.
If I took a shoestring right now and wrapped it around my head, I would be wearing Vader's mask. You wouldn't be wondering what I look like.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, everyone knows what he looks like. Yeah, he takes his mask off all the time, but they had to try something. Put some stakes. Like we've been talking about, when there are stakes in the match, it makes the match even better,
Sure.
And there are stakes on that match, but I guess they were trying. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't last anyway.
No.
Nothing at this point in WWF history, any stipulation they make doesn't matter. As we get to this stuff here, they say this is going to happen if so-and-so loses. It doesn't matter. They'll bring him back the next week, so whatever. Yeah. But
So
Yeah, I just wanted to say though, when Undertaker comes out here and he starts attacking, once his mom gets called a 2-bit, you know what? He rushes the ring and he's full of intensity, man.
Yes.
Like, you think it's a shoot, honestly.
Yes.
Same way I'd react if someone called my mom that, comes out and he chokeslams Kane, and then Kane chokeslams him back, and chokes him on the ground. And like I said, Vader comes out, and Taker finally chases Paul Bearer to the back, I think, and then Kane retreats up the ramp and chases him. But the crowd just loves seeing Paul Bearer get his butt handed to him. It's deserved. You're saying this stuff about someone's mom, dude. Like, and rubbing it in his face that you slept with his mom. So it's like, are you serious? Like, as if we didn't hate you already for turning on Taker 2 years ago. Here you go, man. Like, this is the icing on top. You're despicable.
the only fight I ever got in school was in the 2nd grade when a kid said to me that your mama is so fat she sat on a rainbow and made Skittles, and I punched him in the face. And then when I went to the principal's office, I told him what happened, and he said, "Well, I understand," and I didn't get in trouble for it. So yeah, I mean, I'm right there with the Undertaker, man. I'm right there with him. Understood.
Somebody call my mama. Yeah,
Solidarity.
exactly.
But what is happening with the Undertaker at Over the Edge? Let's find out on the next week, May 25th, Raw 261. Tell us how we find out what Undertaker's role is going to be at that pay-per-view.
So, I believe this is the episode where doesn't Austin have Vince McMahon arrested at the beginning of this one? Yeah. So Austin's got Vince arrested. Austin's been arrested, and now he's getting Vince arrested, and Vince is allowed to get out of his arrest, I guess, if he allows a special enforcer during the world title match, because the title match is supposed to be Austin versus Dude Love at Over the Edge. And so
Vince McMahon's going to be the referee for it. Pat Patterson's going to be the ring announcer. Gerald Briscoe's going to be the timekeeper. They're building it up like Austin's just guaranteed to get screwed over here. Yeah,
exactly. And Vince is acting all cocky. He's like, it's okay, you can have a special enforcer because nobody intimidates me. I'm not intimidated by anybody. So it's just crazy because I think during this is when the main event of this actual episode of Raw 261 is Undertaker versus Austin. It's supposed to be on this match. But Vince is the special referee for this match on Raw, and he's showboating and flexing. And, man, that dude is ripped. I forgot how big Vince is. He's like 52 years old here. He looks amazing. But Taker takes exception to all this showboating and just winds up chokeslamming Vince to a pop. So, hey, we're starting this a lot of stuff happening here that's going to affect the rest of the remainder of the calendar year.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time Undertaker's ever had any interaction with Vince McMahon on this level. First time he's ever assaulted him, and they will go on a few years from now to have a match in this podcast exploration as well. Yeah. So building up to something that happens a long, long time from now. But a lot of interaction, like you said. This is we're setting the stage here for the next half of 1998, really.
Yeah.
And beyond.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he does a throat slash and a huge ovation because the crowd knows what's next is a tombstone, So he goes to get a tombstone on Vince, and Kane comes out, and they just start brawling in the ring and then over the top rope, and then they go into the crowd. And I just, want to note here that I miss these crowd brawls, Some people say they were overused, the Attitude Era. Sure, maybe they were, but when they were used at the right spots, it was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly like this main event and Over the Edge is going to have some. And they're so good when they're used correctly. And when they do them now on TV, they're used so sparingly that they do mean something.
Yeah,
it seems. But
Seth Rollins had one a few months ago. I can't remember what the match was, but he had one, and same thing. Yeah, it was really great. It was really fun.
Yeah. So this is not really an actual match between Austin and Taker here. It's more of an angle, but it brings together all these storylines. And we're going to mention a lot of Austin and Kane and Dude Love and Mick Foley as we continue on as this build to Hell in a Cell here, or to King of the Ring, excuse me.
Well, let's touch on the pay-per-view right before that. It's Over the Edge 1998. Like we said, Undertaker doesn't have a match, but he is going to end up being the special enforcer in the main event.
Yep.
As the match is about to start between Dude Love and Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon's about to ring the bell when all of a sudden the Undertaker's bell tolls. Vince has a great reaction, just a big gulp in his throat. He's terrified of the Undertaker coming out. Everyone's wondering, is the Undertaker on Vince McMahon's side? Is he here to just continue to stack the odds against Stone Cold, or is he the enforcer that's going to make Vince McMahon officiate fairly? And it's a great match. I was telling you before we started here, just rewatching it. I think it's my favorite WWF match of all time. It's right. The other one I always used to say is Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart from SummerSlam '91 is up there. Bret Hart and Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10 is up there. But man, this one, as far as a storytelling goes, and you mentioned just a straight up sports entertainment match, it's perfect from beginning to end, and it ends with with Stone Cold getting the win after Undertaker chokeslams Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson through the tables on the outside. Just
Awesome.
wild spots, and there's a big stare down between Undertaker and Austin as the show ends. As a little bit of respect, but a little bit of, all right, I think it's time for us to maybe face off. For Undertaker to come after this belt. He's giving him that kind of look here too. So just Undertaker plays a role in in my opinion, one of the best matches in WWF history.
Oh, yeah, and I specifically remember watching this at your house, man. I guess, did you have this pay-per-view, or did we rent it
I
for video
ordered
to go or
it.
something?
Yeah, I ordered it and recorded it. Yeah.
Back when you could do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I remember you telling me, because I remember not looking forward to it, honestly, that much, because I was like, dude, love, man, come on, I don't want to see this. But then you sold me on it, and I remember watching it, and afterward, man, just watching it with you, I just marked out for all of it, because like you said, man, it's like the perfect sports entertainment match. Like, if you want to see the difference between, NWA old, Hogan Andre wrestling versus the Attitude Era, this match has everything. It checks every single mark for sports entertainment versus wrestling, wrestling. So it's awesome. Please go out of your way to watch it. But Taker does play a role there. It sets up stuff for the future here. Let's roll on to Raw 262 on the next night on June 1st.
A
98,
very famous moment here, as the the beginning of it's kind of not quite as famous. LOD and Draws are facing the DOA in a Chicago street fight out in the driveway of the building, when all of a sudden you see this shadowy figure walk down that driveway. It looks like the Big Show, man. I was like, wait, we're a year early for that. But it's Undertaker dressed like Casual Monday in his sweatsuit, and he sends the Undertaker chains, puts him on this luggage cart, and just rolls him down the driveway. I don't know if that spot was planned. I don't know.
You could tell it was not.
Yeah.
He tried to turn him sideways, and he rolled because the camera guy gets ran over. Like, he has to move out of the way. But yeah, man, this is awesome.
He beats everybody up, walks into the building and he walks into the arena by the side of the entryway. Doesn't walk down the ramp. No music, just in his street clothes, and delivers a pretty famous quote-unquote shoot interview. If you look up on YouTube, it comes up all the time. Undertaker shoot interview on Raw, and it's a pretty crazy promo.
It really is, man. It's the first time we've seen him like this. He's got sunglasses, a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. So he's all, he's even more relaxed than we saw him in our last episode, talking about him in the cutoff jeans and or cutoff shirt and jeans. So he's even more casual here with his sweats. Kind of an homage to his future partner, his future opponent here, Mankind. So taking a page out of Mankind's playbook here. But this is that shoot promo going again. We use that in quotes, but this has got Russo written all over it too. And he just starts out, and we'll try to sum it up here because it's. We don't have time to break it all down, but basically, let's start at the beginning. He says it's 10 years ago. Vince was known as someone who gave guys an opportunity. He gave me the chance to be Taker. But then shortly after, he says I became the Slayer of Dragons. So a couple weeks ago, he says he was a dragon. Now he's now he's the Slayer of Dragons. So
here in the World Wrestling Federation, I became the Slayer of the Dragons. Now you're asking, what do I mean by that? Vince McMahon knew that I would be loyal for him giving me an opportunity. So what he did
is he put every giant, every freak that he knew his hand-picked champions couldn't beat, and he sicked me on them. And I beat them, I destroyed them, and I moved on. What I did for Vince McMahon was make his kingdom safe for himself and all of his hand-picked champions.
And he goes on and saying that, I did give him an opportunity. I am a 2-time WWF champion, he said, but my tenure didn't last very long because there were other people there. Then Vince didn't want me representing the World Wrestling Federation, and but then he says, I remain loyal, stood by his side, and he forces me to fight my own brother and air our dirty laundry on television, and it's all for ratings, which that's just a kayfabe crushing blow right there, talking about ratings. Because if you're a casual fan, you're like, what the heck is he talking about? But
right.
This is that Vince Russo work shoot, behind the scene things, but I love this next moment. He says, even after all that, I never lost my smile, which that's just a little dig at Shawn.
Yep.
And, meanwhile, Austin comes up, and after years of mistreatment, he goes to the top, and nothing against him, but the only thing he ever did was fight me, and I've had enough, and it's time for Undertaker to get what's his, and I demand a shot at the title. So I tried to sum that up, but
that's what it all comes down to. He wants the WWF Championship opportunity. Kind of similar. We saw a little bit of this last year in 1997 when he was saying, he's kind of been passed over a little bit.
Yeah.
He deserves the title. Now he's saying it again. And Vince McMahon finally comes out after all this and says to Undertaker,
"You want to talk about loyalty, dedication, honor, all those qualities you have. I'll grant you that. And I'm appreciative for it. But let's face it. What have you done for Vince McMahon lately?"
He asks Undertaker if it's true, if his mother really was a, says Undertaker, you can have your WWF title shot if you can beat your brother Kane tonight. So we're going to get a number one contendership for King of the Ring tonight. Undertaker versus Kane. They have a pretty good TV match for the main event.
My favorite match of theirs three,
you think
honestly.
So? Yeah.
I think as far as in-ring, because they're rushed for time, they had to pick up the pace a little bit, They couldn't do that, methodical. I think it's probably the best in-ring product, if you're going to go Meltzer style here.
Well, I enjoyed the commentary because we have JR, King, Vince, and Austin all on commentary for this match. It's great.
I love it.
It is worth going out and seeing. Undertaker busts out a Russian leg sweep in the middle of this match. Stone Cold even calls it. He goes, "Oh, a new trick from an old dog." In the middle of the match.
What has Kane done to deserve a title shot? He's lost twice.
He did beat Vader the night before, I guess. But
who? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you're right. 2 losses to the Undertaker. But they, what ends up happening is Mankind runs out earlier in the night. He was fired by Vince McMahon as Mick Foley / Dude Love. Well, now he's coming out to try to impress Vince McMahon as Mankind. Gives the mandible claw to the Undertaker, which distracts Undertaker. Kane is able to get a tombstone and get the pinfall on the Undertaker to become the number one contender for King of the Ring. So Stone Cold is going to now pair off with Kane, and Mankind is going to pair off with Undertaker. That's going to give us our double main event for King of the Ring 1998.
Yeah, it's really neat how they just kind of wove these two things together and made it happen. I mean, there's not too much build from here on out, but it's really neat, though, just how they just kind of did whatever they did and made it happen, because I think that even Bruce Pritchard was saying on his most recent episode when they covered this match, talking about how they could have gone with Kane and Taker again or something, or they didn't want to, or they wanted to do Foley and
Austin
3 months
and
in Austin again. Excuse me, 3 months in a row. That was just too much. So they had to change something. But then they're going to go with Mick Foley and Taker again. But it's like, well, they've done that 1,000 times. We've covered that for half our 47 episodes. I feel like them two. So it's just but they give us a little special something here. But it is neat because as they're brawling at the end of this episode of Raw, that JR says they're going to have to settle this match in hell, which is just a little foreshadowing what's to come. So, but this whole episode of Raw plants the seeds for everything else that's going to go on the rest of the year, or not planted seeds. Waters the seed has been planted, over the edge. It's just good, great storytelling, man. Awesome.
Absolutely. And the storyline going into King of the Ring, it's good stuff here. We're gonna kind of blow through it because we don't want to make this the a 3-hour episode. We could talk about all of it. It's great stuff. It's worth going out of your way to go and watch all these Raws. But the general storyline here is they're sort of building this tension between Undertaker and Steve Austin. Like they're trying to play in. Obviously, Vince McMahon is trying to screw over Stone Cold, get the title off of him. He's got Mankind on his side. He's got Paul Bearer and Kane on his side. He's trying to manipulate Stone Cold, and they're trying to make it seem like Undertaker might also be on Vince McMahon's side. Like there might be this huge, giant conspiracy going on against Steve Austin. So that kind of goes on the next week. Undertaker comes out and is just...
sweats again.
Yeah, he is in his sweats again. He's got a ponytail. He's got sunglasses on. He's interrupting matches all through the night, interrupting chains and draws, interrupting
Thank God.
Mark Henry and Vader. Yeah, exactly. Choke slamming
Who
everybody.
has his mask on? Vader has his mask back on at that
You're
point.
right.
Sorry.
2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I want McMahon. I want McMahon. He's frustrated. He's upset about last week, and he wants to have a word with Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon's supposed to have this big grand, it's like Vince McMahon Appreciation Night.
Humanitarian award, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as it's going on, Stone Cold, of course, comes out and interrupts it when all of a sudden a bunch of the bargain store Dollar General druids come out with a casket. We think it's going to be Undertaker, but nope. Mankind pops out from under the ring. Kane pops up out of the casket. They attack Stone Cold, and Austin gets tossed into the casket at the end of that night. So it's kind of, we don't see Undertaker come out of the casket. We don't see him rescue Stone Cold. We're wondering, what does Undertaker have to do with all this? Because they come out to Undertaker's music. They do his casket gimmick, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and he's allegedly barricaded by cops, running cops backstage or something. Yeah. So they explain why he wasn't there, but as next week will tell us, was he in on this or not? So the next week of Raw is basically continuing this story. There's a Hell in a Cell hanging above the ring. Yeah, which is weird to see on Raw. I've forgotten about that this took place. This is 2 weeks before this.
This is 2 weeks before King of the Ring. Yeah, this is actually the second ever Hell in a Cell match. Takes place on this Raw, not at King of the Ring.
Yeah, technically. So, basically, again, try to make this go quicker. Austin comes out and talks to Vince, and Vince is claiming the Undertaker planned all this stuff last week, and Taker is from the dark side anyway. He might as well be the devil himself, and Taker comes out and says, I did challenge you like a man. Like, I'm not going to do something behind your back, and tells Vince, which is a great line here. He says, you make a living manipulating the minds of those weaker than you, but you will never be able to manipulate the mind of the Undertaker, which is really cool. And that'll come into play later on in this podcast, future episodes. But basically Kane, Mankind, and Paul Bearer. So the Paul Bearer family, because didn't Mankind call him Uncle Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bearer family. Bear family's out here, and basically, long story short, they invite Taker and Austin to a tag team Hell in a Cell match tonight. So that's the storyline here. Steve
Austin and Undertaker versus Mankind and Kane in the main event in a Hell in a Cell match. That's going to be the main event of the show. Before that, Mankind and Kane compete in the first ever tag team Royal Rumble.
Where'd this come from?
For a tag team title shot before the Hell in a Cell match. I mean, we're getting on Raw, unadvertised on an episode of Raw, we're getting a tag team Royal Rumble for the first time ever, and a tag team Hell in a Cell match, the second ever Hell in a Cell match. I mean, this is Crash TV in a nutshell, dude. Back to back, we're getting all of that happening unadvertised. It's just wild.
It's crazy, man. It's nuts.
It doesn't. And it's super entertaining.
Oh yeah. Oh, one other thing is super entertaining. Oh, absolutely. It's throughout the night. Kevin Kelly is asking Taker and Austin if they trust each other, and Taker has the perfect line. He says, how can you trust somebody who lives by the motto, don't trust anybody?
It's true.
Which I couldn't have said better myself. So, yeah, why don't you tell us what happens in the match here? Because, again, like you said, Kane and Mankind win this number one contenders tag team title match. They're still in the ring, and then the cell starts to lower.
The cell starts to lower. Paul Bearer calls out Austin Undertaker, and, Mankind delivered a promo here, very poetic, and a few weeks ago I got to read off Doc Hendricks' poetry. I thought, if you don't mind, I'd like to do a dramatic reading of Mankind's poetry here before we take a little break.
Where the sidewalk ends with Mankind.
Sure. Excuse me. Here we go. Listen up, one. Listen up, all, to Mankind and Kane and dear Uncle Paul. Because after tonight, you'll hear all the stories they'll tell about how Stone Cold Steve Austin suddenly fell. But bad news for you, dead man. Not because our team's winning, for it's not the end, it's just the beginning. Because look all around you, steel bars and mesh. They'll break your bones, they'll rip at your flesh. Because at King of the Ring, it's my turn to play. I guarantee, dead man, it won't be a nice day. Thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, give me a snap. There we go.
Fantastic. I love it.
I didn't know we'd have so much poetry on this podcast.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Very, very beautiful promo from Mankind here as the cell lowers, and we just get kind of a big giant schmoz to end the show.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's not really a match. Technically it is.
Right.
And on the network, they have the extra attitude after
Extra
the
mustard
show.
or whatever, yeah.
The bell rings, man. There's a pinfall. There's a finish. Austin and Undertaker technically win this match, but basically somehow Austin ends up outside of the cage with Mankind and Kane. Paul Bearer is all alone in the cell, and Undertaker
locks
up out
himself
of the ring.
in, yeah.
Yeah, is locked in the ring, and Undertaker beats the mess out of Paul Bearer. Dude, I will never get tired of Undertaker beating up Paul Bearer.
Does another blade job too. Yeah. Which with the blade, and like my only problem here in the whole entire thing, Kane comes out and tries to get in the cell. Didn't he rip the door off back in October when he debuted?
Touche.
He ripped the freaking door off a locked cell, but here he can't get in. So that's my only little thing, my little beef. I have to nitpick here, but yeah, Bearer with a blade job. Which, again, that's 2 unnecessary blade jobs for Paul Bearer in the last few weeks. But that leads us into the next week, where, because he was bleeding and beaten to a pulp by Undertaker here, which the crowd loves. They're in a frenzy.
Oh, yeah.
This crowd this night, I don't remember which city they were in, but, man, they got a freaking treat with this episode of Raw.
Gosh. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. But that leads us moving on to the next week before we get to this watch along is Raw 265, June 22nd. Paul Bearer's at home via satellite and is healing from his beating last week. And he's wearing was he wearing like a bathrobe? Yeah. But he's got this picture. I don't know if it's shown here or maybe later, but he's got this picture on the wall, a framed picture of Kane in his wrestling outfit. And it's just like, if you have a picture of your son on your wall, do you have him in his wrestling mask and his outfit? Like, I really wish it would have been a picture with the ski mask with the windbreaker. That would have been incredible.
That would have been great. I would have loved that.
Oh, it would have been amazing. So,
well, he's there at home. He's watching the show live as Vince McMahon brings out Kane to open the show. And it's at this point we hear Kane speak for the very first time. Vince gives him this big pep talk for the WWF Championship match. He can't wait for someone to take the title off of Stone Cold. Tells Kane it's going to be his destiny. And says that this match between Kane and Stone Cold is going to be a first in the WWF, which I didn't realize.
Me neither, man.
Yeah. They're going to have a first blood match, and it is the first one in WWF history. I never realized that.
I had no clue. I just assumed it had been around, I knew this match was first blood, but I didn't know it was the first blood match.
Yeah.
So,
Vince asked Kane to speak publicly for the first time to say what else the contract states. What does he say here?
He says, "If I don't win the title, I will set myself on fire." Is that pretty good?
That's pretty good. I enjoyed that.
And Paul Bearer flips out at home. It shows him watching. He's He's flipping out. But I remember watching this live as a kid and thinking how weird it was, to hear Kane speak, and it blew my mind, A lot of new stories being told here in the Undertaker saga.
So much stuff. And it blows my mind that we now have a suicide stipulation for the World Wrestling Federation Championship.
This title means so much. I will kill myself if I don't.
That's what's happening here. He says he will kill himself if he doesn't win. Oh, man. You're not going to see this on SmackDown Live on Fox, people.
No. No.
We go back to Paul Bearer via satellite at home, and he just says, well, when Kane has something in his mind, he's going to stick to it. But he's not going to have to do anything like that because I'm going to get off my sick bed. I will be at ringside with my son at King of the Ring like I've been with him for his entire life. Kane goes on to face Road Dogg later on in the night.
I love Road Dogg.
Oh, dude. Kane did not. Kane destroyed him.
No.
Kane got a big win over Road Dogg. And Paul Bearer is distracted watching this and doesn't hear what's going on in the back of his house, I guess.
Yeah, at this point, you get the Undertaker entering his house. He comes into frame via satellite, and he says, "You think I forgot where you live?"
Undertaker, I don't care what you do. I'm going to be there this Sunday for my son's finest hour. What the hell? I forgot where you live. It's the Undertaker. It's always home.
Which I thought that was a great line. That was a great line. You think I forgot where you live? And he just delivers a right fist right to Paul Bear's beak, man. He's just beating him up. And there's a woman screaming in the background.
Who is that?
Who is this? Is this his new lady?
Yeah,
There's a new lady that's not Taker's mom. She's burned. Got choke slammed into her casket last week. Yeah. But there's some woman screaming in the background, and this is Undertaker's just beating up Bear and throwing furniture around the house and breaking the TV. And this is, as confirmed or allegedly confirmed on Richard's most recent podcast, that this is where both Taker and Paul Bear kind of tweaked their ankles real bad during this brawl.
Yeah.
They broke their ankles fake fighting in a house throwing furniture around.
Exactly.
Like, it's crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy.
I think you can see it. Undertaker throws a dresser on top of Paul Bear and then just stumbles back onto the couch and falls down and sits on the couch. I think that's when he rolls his ankle, and you can see Paul Bear fall awkwardly too. I think they have basically the same injury. They both hit their legs or their ankles or something. It is hilarious to think about. 6 days out of this pay-per-view, these two guys get hurt doing this. Not in a real wrestling scenario, but doing this stupid stuff.
Not to mention Steve Austin has like a staph infection. He goes to the hospital for like 4 days.
That too, yeah.
Yeah. So, also future Hall of Famer Edge debuts on this night of Raw. Just want to throw that in there. He'll remember that name, ladies and gentlemen. He'll come into play a little bit later.
We will come into talking about him much, much more later on the show. But a historic debut here on this episode of Raw. And, go ahead. What?
I was saying breaks the guy's neck.
Oh,
God. First match.
Yeah. Another injury. Jeez. Something's in the air on this show.
Something's in the water.
Man.
Yeah.
And this is the show that has the famous angle where Austin's in the ring wearing a white baseball jersey for the first time in his life.
First time ever.
And Kane
you knew something's up.
Drops some blood onto him to scare him, psych him out for the first blood match that Sunday. Mankind cuts a promo here on Undertaker, a really good promo. Calls Undertaker a coward for attacking Paul Bearer. The cell drops down around him as he's cutting his promo. So those are the two big matches going into the King of the Ring. It's kind of a double main event here. Undertaker and
plus the King of the Ring itself, which is always exciting.
King of the Ring tournament itself. Yeah, exactly. That's a huge pay-per-view.
It really is. It feels like a Mania type build. I mean, there hasn't been much build to these matches, honestly. I mean, they kind of threw these together, in the last 2 weeks. But as far as star quality and your anticipation for the matches, it's a really big card.
They've done a great job at selling it and bringing it in there, especially for this, like you said, it's Undertaker and Mankind we've seen a lot of. It's actually, I believe, I mean, our listeners could correct me if I'm wrong. This for this matchup here, this is going to be the 5th time they've ever faced on pay-per-view here at King of the Ring 98, which up to this point is the record for the most times of a singles match two guys have ever faced each other on pay-per-view.
Wow.
I think it's broken, after this, of course.
John Cena and Randy Orton.
Sure. They faced each other like 15 times. But up
they
to
break
this
it
point,
in one calendar year.
Right. Up to this point, this is match number 5 for them, and no two guys have ever faced each other on pay-per-view that much in WWF history.
Freaking Undertaker, man. He's got so much cool stuff, history.
Well, let's talk about it. We want you right now to queue up the WWF Network. The time queue is going to be 1 hour, 46 minutes, 23 seconds. So if you're using a streaming app that has the timestamps on there, it should be, just go to the one that says Undertaker, Mankind, Hell in a Cell. That should put you right there. I know on the Apple TV, it doesn't have those timestamps, so I believe the time queue is just 1 hour, 46 minutes, 23 seconds. Go ahead and pull that up on King of the Ring 1998. If you need to pause the show here for a minute, you can go ahead and do that as you queue it up. Or if you just want to listen to us, give our live streaming thoughts and aren't going to watch it, then feel free. But we encourage you to watch along with us. We're going to do our best to talk about just a little bit more of the historical significance of this match and kind of give that interaction of watching this match really for the first time in 20 years. And I haven't seen it in a long, long time until watching it now. So it's going to be really exciting, really fun to watch along with you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll try not to step on each other too much, but I'm sure we'll both have the same things to say at the same time. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes, ladies and gentlemen. So you let me know when you're ready to push play.
I'm ready to go. You want to give him a countdown?
Oh, yes, I do. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, of course, we've got JR and King on commentary. I mean, famously, man, Mankind and Undertaker, obviously, this is the match that Mankind is associated with for all time.
Right.
But you could say, too, this is the match that puts JR on the map historically. JR is a legend without a doubt, even without this match. But this is the one. Still to this day, there's memes and all this sort of and videos made with the commentary for this match. So it not only puts the wrestlers on the map, it makes JR a legend in a lot of ways too.
It does. You'll see it on ESPN. You'll see those.
You're
it's
right.
between September and February of every year. If you get a hard hit in a football game, whether it's college or NFL, you're going to have, by God, he's broken in half.
Always. To this day, 20 years later.
Okay, right now, this is close in of a first blood match. Little, something somebody made from home and brought a little sign. But I'm like, this is the Hell in a Cell match. Why are we zooming in on the first blood? Good job, but why are we zooming in on that?
It is a cool sign, though. I do like that sign.
It is cool. But thanks a lot, Karen, man. So Mankind is coming out here with a chair, and I'd just like to say I appreciate corporate Mankind here. He's dressed up. He's got a black tie and a white shirt on.
And this is our first look at that. Really, I think he had it on Raw the week before, but again, it's going into that storyline. He's been fired as Dude Love, and now he's trying to come back and impress Vince McMahon. That's why he's gone heel again, and he's gonna continue on. For the rest of his time as Mankind, he will wear this suit and tie. It ties. I think a lot of people probably don't know why he wore that.
Right.
But it all goes back to this. This is the first real pay-per-view match that he wore this outfit for and changed up his look for that. Pretty cool.
Once again, Undertaker, man, cornerstone of the freaking World Wrestling Federation. So much stuff is a genesis with him. So here's Mankind. He's checking to make sure this is a secure facility. He's walking in, doing a little turnaround, and here he's going to decide something very unique that I believe Terry Funk told him. Why don't you tell us what that is?
Yeah, famously here, Mankind is going to start. He's about to throw this chair up to the top of the cell. Good toss.
Thank God he made it.
There. Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to start the match on top of the cell. And as you mentioned,
he slips.
He's a little slip right there. Terry Funk gave him this idea. They were talking about, how can we make this match different from the first Hell in a Cell match? How can we top it? We talked about on our podcast on episode 42, I think it was.
I think so.
43? 42, yeah. Of that Hell in a Cell match is one of the best WWF matches of all time. How do you top it?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the story here. This match,
Yeah.
it's an escalation of everything, man. They're not only are they having to escalate from the Hell in a Cell, that first Hell in a Cell, just a couple months ago, we had people setting people on fire. The Over the Edge main event was crazy and awesome. Yep. We had a Hell in a Cell on TV 2 weeks beforehand. And these guys have faced each other on pay-per-view 4 times. It's almost like they back themselves into a corner where they have to do these wild and crazy spots that we're about to see. So, they have to escalate it,
For sure.
As we see The Undertaker coming out here.
And right before Undertaker's music hits here, JR says, can you imagine what this human being will do to himself? Talking about Mankind. And I mean, JR had no idea what these spots were. He's just foreshadowing there without knowing. And as we talked about, the first Hell in a Cell being so great, King even says at the beginning of this match that the first Hell in a Cell was perhaps the greatest thing he's ever seen. King says that on commentary, which is unusual for a heel commentator to put it over like that. But that's a great camera shot right there of the Undertaker walking toward the cell with the camera looking through the chain link. That was a really good production shot. Dan Kirk 316, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Kirk. I don't know who he is, but
hit us up, Dan Kirk. Hit us up. We want to hear from you.
So at this point, Taker's at the ring, and this is a great shot too. You got Taker down below, wonderful production shot. Mankind standing on top, twitching like he's got Tourette's, and just daring him to come up to the top. It's awesome.
And remember here, Undertaker is injured. He is coming into this with a bum ankle, and you can see it clearly throughout the entire match. He is not at 100%. He's going to be limping on top of this cage, limping in the ring, limping out of the ring. Again, his commitment level to what he's doing. He's not phased, though. He's about to climb right up there.
Look at this dude
face off with Mankind. Yeah, this is a 6'10", 320-pound dude also climbing this cage. And Mankind helps him up right there.
Right there. I went back and read a transcript of Talk Is Jericho with Mick Foley on it, and he mentioned that he forgot, deciding to climb to the top of the cell, he forgot how fat he was and how he could only do 4 pull-ups in elementary school. He's like, I didn't realize it until I started climbing how bottom-heavy I am. So and now they're up on the cell, guys, punching. You're not going to see many wrestle moves in this match, guys.
No.
If you haven't seen it before.
And talk about bottom heavy here. We're about to see him just about here and just say, big he sign in the crowd. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
They're just about to go through the cell here themselves here before they're supposed to, as Mankind gets in a few chair shots. What?
He does.
Why is he bringing that chair up there?
I don't know.
We're going to see it come into play here in a second.
Sure, but...
Whoop!
Whoa, there they go. They're
Pop
about
goes
to break
the cell.
through. Could you imagine if they broke through right there? Oh, my goodness. There's 2 drunk uncles fighting right now. They're just wobbling. Bless their hearts, man. So here we go. We're into this match. Probably
Mankind going for
contact.
Suplex.
Yeah. They probably made contact, 80 seconds ago?
Yep.
Now they're punching. Mankind's on the edge, and
there it is.
Oh my God!
Good God Almighty! He is broken in half, as JR would say. Mankind goes flying off the cell, and dude, the sustained noise from this crowd when this happens. It's not really a cheer. It's just a roar for about 30 seconds after this happened. People are screaming, people are crying, people are in shock. There's just this incredible noise after that happens.
And this is selling 101, except for he's actually separated his shoulder from his body.
Yeah.
He's legit separation. But look at that selling, man. He's not selling. He's actually, here you go, the replay.
Here's the
from
replay
a great
right
angle.
there.
Oh my goodness. He didn't take the monitors off, man.
But look at it. Look how perfectly he hits it.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit those monitors. And you can
Nope.
you can watch his right hand. He kind of guides himself off the cage. too. It's just, it's insane, and I don't want to call it stupid. It's I don't know if it's necessary. We can debate that maybe later on as we see Terry Funk go on here, but
Dr. Funk. Dr. Terry Funk
it's
comes
crazy,
out.
man. And look at the Spanish announcers next time they show it. They don't get up. They don't move out of the way. Move. They just sit there as a human being comes flying towards them.
Yeah. And talking about, I was reading that interview with Jericho again, and Mick Foley said that he talked to Vince and ran that by him, and he said, do you mind if I do this bump? And Vince was like, no. And he said, well, let me put it this way. If I was going to elbow drop someone off the top of it, you would probably let me, right? And Vince said, yeah, probably. He said, all right. It's the same thing, except there's nobody on the table moving. So that's how he allegedly got Vince to let him do it. So a little behind the scenes there. Again, not from us. There's a Francois Petit right there with the ponytail, who was Sub-Zero in the Mortal Kombat movies, according to Bruce Pritchard, and confirmed by IMDb.
That is wild.
Yeah, I knew that name because Stone Cold talks about him all the time on his podcast.
Yeah, I didn't know he was an actor though either.
Me neither.
Look at Mankind. He guides himself with his hand there. He's trying to do it as safely as possible, but there's no safety there. Like JR said, you can't fake that. It's just incredible.
What a small margin for error too.
Yes,
he could have
exactly.
He could have hit one of those monitors, man.
Could have hit the guardrail.
Or Bronco Savinovich, or whatever his name is. I think it's Bronco Savinovich. Hugo Savinovich, yeah. So, but yeah, this is Vince McMahon breaking kayfabe, honestly, out here checking on him. I think Pritchard said he wasn't supposed to come out, but he was legit concerned for him. And so Vince McMahon is out there as Vince McMahon, not Mr. McMahon, the character, checking on him. And here you can hear some cuss words if you listen closely, and they're saying he broke his blankety blank shoulder and stuff. So this is not acting right here.
No, and it's important to note as the cell goes up here with Undertaker on top, there wasn't any padding underneath that table. This they kind of got away with something here, really, because if you look at every other bump that's been done like this in the 20 years since, and we've seen a lot of them. We've seen Shane McMahon jump off the cell. We've seen Jeff Hardy do some wild stuff off the Titantron. Steve Blackman, Rikishi have done some crazy bumps. Every single one of those has some padding involved, has some special effects. It's gimmicked. This was not. And it's because of this that every big one after that has been gimmicked afterward.
Yeah. Even Mick Foley.
Yeah.
When he does against
the next
Triple
year,
H.
Or 2 years later. And a very somber Vince McMahon looking on. That's a shoot right there.
Legit concern, yeah. Actual concern from. I thought that was Terry Funk and the Medicat, but it wasn't. This is actual medic. But I was thinking when I was watching this is that if this were a technical shoot, Taker would have just rolled down there, throw him in the ring, and pinned him. So he's actually concerned for his brother here, but.
They could have ended it right here, and it would have been fine. This was enough right here. I watched a clip from a VHS that I used to have, the Three Faces of Foley VHS that came out later this year in 1998. Foley talks about some of his most famous moments. He's talking in the arena to the Hardy Boys in an empty arena, just telling stories to them. It's a great video, man. I wish it was on the network. But he's talking to them about this match, and he says, in the planning of it, I was thinking to myself, Mick Foley's saying this, if we do something big right away, people will believe they saw a tremendous match, even if nothing else happened. And, he was spot on. Dude.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about that as this match goes on. There's a couple of gigantic spots here, but otherwise, it's not much of a match.
No, it's not.
But we all remember it as a classic. As Undertaker climbs down here, trying to escape.
Gingerly with his ankle here. He's trying. And I just want to say, the crowd at this point is chanting, Undertaker,
yes,
clap,
they
clap,
are.
clap. Here we go. Mankind's back up. There's Dave Hebner, the Fat Twin, trying to hold him back.
Stop him, trying to hold him back. And, in real life, they probably should have. In another time, in another era, they would have. But this is just so iconic. Both guys climbing back up.
Rushing back up, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's It's amazing.
I think Mankind climbed faster then than he did the first time, and now his shoulders legit
Just going
separated.
on pure adrenaline, whatever.
Yeah, that too, whatever. Taker walking the tightrope in the middle. Okay, so headbutt from Undertaker. So we've seen this giant table bump that was horrifying, and the next spot in the match,
He goes through the cage to the ring. That's
and the
it.
chair
He's
hits him in
dead.
the tooth.
As Vince McMahon says, as you can see the zip ties around, yes, as the chair hit him in the tooth. And
now they're rushing the ring here.
oh, yeah. Break through the door into the cage to check on him. And
Taker's
looking down at him like, well, you asked for this, dude. you wanted this kind of match. And I'm the Undertaker. I'm bringing it to you. And just this iconic shot right here of Undertaker standing over what a lot of people in the ring thought was dead. They thought
and here comes Taker,
ooh.
lands, and that hurt my ankle just watching him land.
Yep.
There goes the fat twin, Dave Hebner. Again, so he's just fallen onto this ring, and he comes in here, and allegedly he gets the information that it's okay to proceed. This is one of my favorite parts of the match. It doesn't involve a big bump.
Terry Funk gives Mankind a chance to take a breather. Terry Funk goes down and
out of his shoes.
Kicks his shoes off right here.
And if you're not paying attention, you think Undertaker just chokeslammed the man out of his shoes.
Some dirty tube socks, man.
Match. That was my favorite. Dirty tube socks. Here's a replay.
Oh God, his body's not supposed to do that. Oh man.
And I just again,
the other bump I think is the more famous bump. This is the more painful bump for sure. And
that's what Pritchard said. This is the one they're concerned about. Yeah,
and
because
look at that. Look at that. He's not well. The way he did not take that bump normally. He is not. No. He's not all there, man.
No, he's concussed.
Okay,
yeah. And this is where I was reading that that transcript of his interview with Jericho, and he said that allegedly, according to Mick Foley, the cell was supposed to give a little bit, and then kind of have a tear in it when they chokeslammed him in it, and then he would kind of fall down like fall down a rabbit hole almost. And Taker would kind of shove him. He would be hanging upside down and then kind of backflip over onto his knees and his hands. That did not happen. He went straight through to the ground. Here we go, old school. Oh!
And Mankind just collapses in the corner there. It's honestly uncomfortable to watch.
It is.
Just knowing, as we see that shot of his tooth coming out of his nose.
And the
fact that we're saying that, it's wild. And that's from the chair that came down on top of him that knocked that tooth out. But there was a lot of questions, and I'm thinking there's a lot of confusion of the people saying that spot was not planned of him going through the cell. It was. He was supposed to go through. That was gimmicked, and you can see the zip ties come off of it. He was supposed to go off of it, but I think the understanding was it would take a couple of choke slams to go through it, and he might be able to pivot and land a different way. Oh, he is. He is concussed. His shoulders separated. He's not all there. Look, he picks up the stairs and just drops them. He doesn't know what to do here. It's
so Taker's like, fine, I'll do it. He picks up. Look at that tooth. Tooth in the nose. Tooth in the nose. Tooth in the nose.
Undertaker rams him with the stairs and
in the bad shoulder, by the way.
Just all the props in the world to Mick Foley for sacrificing himself, for doing this, and but
for fans like us.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, if you look at his career, what is he famous for? For Mr. Socko, for
reaching his pants and pulling out a dirty tube sock. Yeah,
and I think that's the lesson here is that he didn't have to do all this stuff. Is he?
Right.
Would he still be a Hall of Famer without this match? I think so. Yep. Would he still be WWF champion? Probably eventually. Would this elevated him to a different level? But look at guys look at the King, look at the Rock and Roll Express, who we've talked about on the show. Would they ever do anything like this? And
no.
Are they still wrestling today? As Undertaker just
suicide dives.
He's working this match by himself here. He jumps into the cage. He's going to take a blade job here. Man, it is.
But yet,
man, it's brutal.
You're right. We've talked about it a lot on this. We've used Mick Foley as an example about how he's most over when he has sock on his hand and was doing stuff it didn't matter that you could do, which I think was Vince's hesitation in bringing him in the first place. You know, JR talked about how he had to convince him to let him bring him in because he was a spot monkey, which wasn't even a term back then. But, you know, Vince was hesitant, and apparently after this match, well, I'll say that for when this match is over. Vince has a comment he says to him that, according to Mick Foley.
Right.
And I'll say that for when this match is over. But, yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that as long as you got good storytelling, good characters, you don't have to do this kind of stuff. And, I mean, Undertaker's still wrestling today. You know?
That's true. Yep.
He's still wrestling today. You know?
You can tell he's hurt right here, too. He's struggling to get up those stairs.
Kudos to both of them.
Yeah, especially because we're going to see them after this match is over, too.
Yeah.
Because Mankind hits your favorite move.
Wedgie pile driver.
Oh, yeah.
Boom!
Picture
Sticks
perfect.
it hard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And again, I was talking about stakes earlier. This match has absolutely no stakes.
That's true.
There's nothing at stake in this match. There's no title contendership. There's no tag team title. There's no anything. You're not going to be on Vince's payroll if you win. There's no stakes. So they did all this, and there's no stakes, you know. But it's still a classic match, obviously.
Oh,
but
it's
imagine
legendary.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Oh, taking a page out of Sabu's book. Leg drop on the chair.
And that's my thing too. Like, at this point, why are we even still doing this match? You know, it's those two bumps. I mean, that's what we came here for. And honestly, if you listen to the crowd here, they're just kind of in stunned silence at what they've seen, and they go through the motions with this wrestling match afterward.
Right.
But you didn't need to. And Mankind is, good Lord, man, he's bleeding from the mouth. His tooth is in his nose. Hits about the ugliest DDT you'll ever see right there. It's just, you know, in the mat, in the punishment, as JR would say. You know, somebody stop the dang match.
Yeah, and JR tells us right here, he says, you know, we said this would not be for the weak at heart, and King says, look at Mankind's face, he's actually laughing, which, again, it's crazy. And then here's the spot.
The third spot, yeah.
Yeah, and but as he's getting these thumbtacks out, I want to say that JR reminds us on commentary here that no one has had more wins over Undertaker than Mankind, which we should probably go back and check that, but I can't.
True,
I mean, on pay-per-view, definitely. You know, I can't think anybody else has.
Thumbtacks.
So maybe Sean. I mean, Sean would be, but I think
I guess Sean.
It'd be up there with both of them. So here we got thumbtacks on there, punch to the face. This is man.
This is the first time we've ever seen thumbtacks in the WWF.
Right.
Foley busting out the death match kind of stuff, and dude, you know, thumbtacks always work. That's one of those things, man. Mick Foley's done a lot, but even a couple years ago when Jericho and Ambrose did it, man, it always gets over.
Yeah.
Bring thumbtacks
always.
into the ring. And honestly, you know, it's painful, but it's not on the same level of taking a bump flying
through
off
a table.
It's safe.
You're not going to separate your shoulder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
You're not going to separate your shoulder or get a concussion from landing on some thumbtacks. It'll hurt for a little while. You put some Band-Aids on it. But, yeah, you're not going to risk your, you know, sanity, basically. I mean, Jericho talked about how it hurt like a beast. But,
it stings.
It's not these two bumps here. And so here we go. Mankind's got the mandible claw, which is how he's put away Undertaker in the past. Taker is probably not selling there. He's actually ready to give up.
Oh God, yeah, both these guys.
I'm ready to watch him. You know, referee Tim White here at Hell in a Cell. He'll have an infamous Hell in a Cell later on in the years that ends his career.
You got to think about what's going on in his head, just being in there witnessing all this sort of stuff.
Oh, so here's Undertaker, Mankind on his back,
and he's gonna just flat back down onto the thumbtacks, dude.
Which Mankind rolls into. Still got tooth in the nose, guys. Still got tooth in the nose.
And there's a great story on the Something to Wrestle With episode from last week with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad. Bruce talks about Mankind coming backstage after this match saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot all the thumbtack stuff." Like, Mankind did not remember any of this happening.
Yeah,
and yet he did it and went through with it as he's about to get choke slammed into the thumbtacks here. Just brutal.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh man. And right before this, as he's leaned over in the corner and Tim White comes and talks to him, he says, Mick Foley leans up and says, "Tell him to," and he says some word I can't understand, but I guess what it was go home. Tell him to go home. Like, I'm done. I rewound it about 20 times. Here we go. We've got a sideways tombstone, perfect, picture perfect. Looks awesome. Cross pin, 1. Iconic pin, 1, 2, 3. 17 minutes, 38 seconds as far as I can remember.
Mercifully, it is over. JR is going to say, these two men gave you of their soul tonight. That they're putting over both guys huge. And, I mean, really, this was pretty much an Undertaker squash match. Going back and watching it, he destroys Mankind here.
He does. He throws him off the top, chokeslams him through it, backseat drivers him into thumbtacks, chokeslams him into thumbtacks, and does a tombstone. All that Mankind got was an ugly DDT.
Yep.
But this match got 4.5 stars from Dave Meltzer, and the Shawn Taker one got 5, which, I mean, if you're going to go from in-ring standpoint, which he's usually big on, there's no way they compare. But as far as spectacle and tableau, as we mentioned last week,
it's the
this
rare
match
time.
Has it all.
Yeah, Meltzer rates it based off of just the spectacle of it.
Yeah. Because, again, I think you and I both said that Shawn and Taker is our favorite Hell in a Cell, but this one, there's no denying the impact this one had on the future of the industry, future of, like you said, even safety in big bumps. But that one had a...
Do you remember watching this one for the first time?
I do. So I remember this night, my friend that was at my church, he called me. He ordered the pay-per-view, and he called me and told me what had happened. And I got online and was reading, the updated, spoilers as the Kane and Austin match is going on. But I remember him calling me. His name was Daniel Harrison. He called me and told me what happened. And I remember not seeing it. I wonder if I saw it. I don't remember the first time I saw it, if I saw it with you or if I rented it. But I do remember I owned the WWF Eve of Destruction VHS, which came out at the end of 99 or beginning of 2000. And it had like the highlights of this on it, along with the highlights of a lot of other good matches. And I remember watching this one over and over and over again. Like, it wasn't the whole thing, but honestly, though, it's basically 3 bumps.
Right, right.
There's not a lot in between.
I remember hearing I must have read it online, what happened, and then they would show the still images on Raw the next night, and I was just blown away by it. And whenever the VHS came out to the store 2 months later or whatever it was, I remember I feel like it was rented out the first couple weeks. I tried to go get it, but I remember as we see some more replays of it, I remember watching it and just rewinding it over and over and over again because it was just shocking. It was unbelievable to me. I remember my dad had a friend that he worked with that came over to the house, and he used to be into wrestling back in the day, back when he was younger. And I remember saying, "You gotta come see this," because we would talk about wrestling stuff, even though he wasn't really watching it. I remember coming and showing him, "Oh my God, you've never seen anything like this before." It was insane. It was one of those things, and that's the thing about it is 20 years later, it still has not been topped. I don't think, and I mean that's a good thing probably. For the safety and the careers of people nowadays, we hit the peak, and it should never go beyond this, and hopefully it doesn't. I mean, it's a good thing that we have all that safety, and in my opinion, some people would say, no, we need more of this Attitude Era stuff as Mankind gets stretchered out and
he's refusing it,
unable to stand. That's all you need to know about this is that it shouldn't. Wrestling doesn't have to be like this.
Right, and
God bless him for doing it, but it doesn't have to be like this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And King says something. JR and King both say, I think JR says, I'll tell you what, folks, in 25 years, I've never witnessed anything that even closely resembles what we just witnessed. And then King says, nothing in any federation has ever resembled this.
Yeah.
Up to this point, probably not, I'm sure. And like you said, there's been other spots and big stuff, and you get the holy S moments and stuff nowadays in the big spot, but nothing. This is it, man. This is the pinnacle of it. And Terry Funk's rocking a fanny pack.
Fanny pack and tube socks, bringing the crowd to their feet. And we do hear a light Foley chant as Mick Foley does get a standing ovation here. And seeing one more replay. Man.
Like you said, man, it sucks that Foley had to go to these lengths to be solidified as a main eventer, but this definitely is the match that everyone says you put him there. I know he got sick of talking about it, but now he's doing a tour, world tour about it. So I mean, he must have come to terms with it. But at first, he says he got sick of talking about it. This is not what defined him.
Well, he says
You know.
on that Three Faces of Foley VHS, which came out in 1998, just a few months after this, he says on there, this is probably the match that I'll be remembered for throughout my entire career. And he knew even a couple months later that was true. And he's still exactly right. We're talking about it 20 years later, as right now the show is going to transition to Stone Cold versus Kane in a First Blood match.
Yeah.
And
we're not going to watch that.
We're not going to watch that, but just so you know, to go into next week's episode, Kane is going to become the WWF champion here after Mankind. After that, he's going to run out here 15 minutes later and interfere in this match. And Undertaker is also going to come out and interfere in this match. He's going to accidentally hit Stone Cold with a chair, which is going to cause Stone Cold to bleed and cause him to lose the First Blood match.
Because he revives Earl Hebner with a can of gasoline.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah. And Kane is going to become the second man in his family to become the champion, actually faster than his brother did. It's true. In a shorter amount of time, he's going to become champion. And that's going to play a part into next week's episode as we move on to Fully Loaded 1998 in your house. But, man, any other final words about this Hell in a Cell match, man?
Yeah, what I alluded to earlier is I wanted to say that Vince allegedly thanked Mick for what he said. Thank you for what you did for the business tonight, but I don't ever want to see anything like that again. So as Mick Foley recounts that story, I think Pritchard said something about that too. So just he went above and beyond. So did Taker, because again, Taker was busted up too. You could tell at the whole match he's hurting, his ankle's killing him. So props to both those guys for getting that. Thank you for doing that for us fans, and we hope you guys enjoyed the watch along. I know it's a little different, but we couldn't really add anything new to this match. Has been dissected, more than a frog in biology class. So, it's just something we tried, and let us know if you guys liked it. If you were there that night in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the Pittsburgh Arena, I think it's Civic Arena. If you let us know if you were there, what you guys' memories are about this match, good and bad.
Lou Jane on Facebook, you mentioned you were at Mayhem in Manchester. We want to hear about that. You commented on there. Give us your feedback on that from a couple weeks ago. We want to hear about that. We love hearing from people who were at the shows and your memories of just watching this 20 years ago. We love hearing from it. It's fun, hearing from all our followers out there on Twitter. Just your interaction with us, every little bit of it, it's cool. And there's been a few of you I see on Twitter. You've been tagging us on other people's posts, sharing our posts, retweeting us, tagging us when people are asking what wrestling podcast they should get into.
Yeah, thank y'all.
That means a lot. Yeah, it really does. It's just really cool out there for me and Travis for that to be happening. So we do appreciate that. We appreciate every single download, every single person who's following us on all the social media pages out there, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where you can get all the Talking Taker content. I think our new goal, Travis, is we got to figure out a way to get the Undertaker to follow us on Instagram. Undertaker's on Instagram now.
He is.
He's got an official Instagram page. We're gonna work on this. We're gonna get the Undertaker to follow the podcast, devoted to him. We're gonna figure it out. So if any of you out there can help us out with that, we would appreciate it, because he needs to know. He needs to know. He needs to know we're Talking Taker.
Exactly, he sure does. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing else we can add. It's 2:00 in the morning. We love y'all. Thanks for everything, and see you next week. I'm just kidding. Take her easy.
Where was it? On the embalming table or something?
No, on the kitchen floor.
Oh, no.
Yeah, at the kitchen floor of the funeral.
Bob Bearer slips the salami to the Undertaker's mother on the kitchen floor.
In the kitchen of the apartment of the funeral.
You swear to God.
I swear. It's the gospel truth. That's the way it happened. She took me, an innocent 19-year-old boy. I lost my virginity right now. It's true.
Paul Bearer buries his baloney in the Undertaker's mother's kitchen.
She was a moaning and a groaning and a screaming, and I heard some little feet coming down the stairs. It's a good thing I got up, because there was little Taker coming down the stairs. I stopped him just in time. If it had took 2 more steps, he'd have seen his mama's feet. One of them was in New York, and the other one was in L.A.